In this video, we will discuss the logical fallacies that can be observed in Quranic texts or in the arguments presented by Muslims to defend religion. Logical fallacies are errors in reasoning that make conclusions invalid or weak. We'll go through these fallacies in detail, with examples from the texts and common arguments. The goal is not to attack but to promote critical and logical thinking. 1. Appeal to ignorance. Argument from ignorance. This fallacy occurs when someone says, "You can't explain a certain phenomenon, therefore, God is the answer." Quranic example, in Surah At-Tur, 52:35-36, were they created by nothing, or were they the creators, of themselves? Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Rather, they are not certain. This argument relies on the idea that if you cannot explain the origin of creation, the only option is God. Critique: the inability to explain a phenomenon does not mean the religious explanation is correct. Scientific uncertainty doesn't justify jumping to metaphysical conclusions. 2. Circular reasoning, begging the question. This fallacy happens when the conclusion to be proven is used as evidence for itself. Common example among Muslims: the Quran is true because it is the word of God, and God exists because the Quran says so. Critique: you cannot use a sacred text as proof of its own validity. This creates a closed loop that lacks external evidence to support the claim. 3. Appeal to consequences. This fallacy occurs when someone argues, if God doesn't exist, life has no meaning or morality. Common example among Muslims: atheism leads to moral chaos, so religion must be the answer. Critique: the moral or emotional consequences of a belief cannot be used as proof of its truth. Logical analysis requires evaluating claims based on evidence, not emotional preferences. 4. Strawman fallacy. This happens when an opponent's position is misrepresented to make it easier to attack. Common example: atheism means the universe came from nothing, and that's illogical. Critique: atheism does not claim that the universe came from nothing, it simply rejects belief in God due to lack of evidence. This fallacy constructs the weaker version of atheism to attack it more easily. 5. Appeal to authority. This fallacy occurs when the opinion of a famous figure or expert is used as definitive proof. Common example among Muslims: foreign scientists converted to Islam because they discovered it aligns with science. Critique: the belief of scientists or public figures in Islam does not prove its truth. Evidence must be objective and independent of individual opinions. 6. Hasty generalization. This fallacy occurs when a personal experience is generalized to all cases. Common example: a person who was an atheist converted to Islam and found peace, therefore, Islam is the truth. Critique: personal experiences cannot serve as universal evidence. What applies to one individual doesn't mean it applies to everyone or proves the religion's absolute truth. 7. False dichotomy, false binary. This happens when only two options are presented, ignoring other possibilities. Quranic example: say, are those who know equal to those who do not know? Surah Az-Zumar, 9. The common interpretation: either you are with God and have knowledge, or you are ignorant and misguided. Critique: life and belief systems are not limited to binary choices. A person can possess knowledge and morality without adhering to religion. 8. False causation. Correlation does not equal causation. This fallacy occurs when a causal relationship is assumed between two unrelated events. Common example: the more people abandon religion, the more natural disasters occur. Critique: natural disasters have scientific explanations, such as climate change or tectonic activity. Linking them to a lack of religiosity is an illogical conclusion. 9. Begging the question. This occurs when the claim being argued is assumed to be true without evidence. Common example: the Quran is miraculous because it contains no errors. Critique: this assumes the Quran's perfection without providing independent evidence. Claims of miracles must be subjected to thorough and objective analysis. Conclusion: logical fallacies weaken arguments and make them unconvincing. Using logic and critical thinking is essential to understanding the world and analyzing religious texts objectively. What are your thoughts on these examples? Are there other arguments worth discussing? Share your opinions in the comments.